everyone. Hello. How are you doing? Good day. Hope you're good. Hope you are fine. Welcome to Lawyers Info Hub. It's a great pleasure to always create content on this platform. If you're a returning subscriber, I really appreciate you. And if you're coming in here or stumbling into this channel for the first time, this is Lawyers Info Hub. Please consider subscribing to our channel because we create content, legal content that will help you become better in your practice, better as a student if you're law student, and to help you, have legal ideas, legal knowledge. If, for example, you are not a lawyer or you're not even a law student, so it's a channel that helps you to gain legal knowledge. So today we're looking at settlement of marital property or matrimonial property, partitioning of matrimonial property. Marriage is an institution that is special, and but sometimes there are challenges that has made people to choose to either separate or divorce. You know, uh, we have done many videos on matrimonial proceedings. You can check it up on our channel for more understanding. So today we're looking at in the instance where a husband and wife are no more together. They have separated or they are now divorced, and there are properties they acquired in the marriage. There were properties that the man acquired before they got married. There are properties the woman acquired before they got married. We're looking at how will it be partitioned? How will it be settled? What does the law say about settlement of property? This is something that a lot of people, you know, have issues on. Sometimes a husband and a wife might say, okay, we are no longer compatible. We can't live together. I'm tired. I also know you're tired. Okay, we can go our separate ways, but they will still have loggerheads in terms of property. Who takes what? How do we divide the property? How do we partition who gets what? Because so this person will say, I contributed more. This other person will say, I bought the land, you built on it. That means we have to find a way around it. Some other person is saying, no, I bought the land, I built it. We're not working. You didn't have money. So how come you're trying to drag or trying to take part from my property? So these are things we see in this jurisdiction. These are things we see in our client. But at the same time, the law has made provision on how to go about it. Now we are going to look at the the rules with respect to matrimony as the Matrimonial Causes Act. And we're going to look at Section 72. Section 72 is that section that makes provision for settlement of property in of matrimonial property. Now, so Section 72 sub 1 says the court may, in proceedings under this act, by order, require the parties to the marriage or either of them to make for the benefit of all or any of the parties to and the children of the marriage such a settlement of property to which the parties are or either of them is entitled, bracket, whether in possession or reversion, as the court considers just and equitable in the circumstances of the case. Now, the sub 2 is saying the court may, in proceedings under this act, make such order as the court considers just and equitable with respect to the application for the benefit of all or any of the parties to and the children of the marriage of the whole or party of property dealt with by antenuptial or postnuptial settlement on the parties to the marriage or either of them. Now, I want to just digress a bit. Antenuptial or postnuptial settlement. See, sometimes before people get married, maybe they're just partners in common law or they're just dating, but they are not married. And they have properties. There are people like that. They're not married to the other party, but they have property, that personal property or property they acquired while they are dating before marriage. That is what we call antenuptial, before marriage. Then we have postnuptial settlement after marriage. Now, there are people who were never married and they acquired property. Now, when they marry, those properties were gotten before they got married. So there could be antenuptial settlement. Now we have the postnuptial settlement, which is they have been married and now no longer married and they want to settle. So that is why the sub 2 is making reference to antenuptial or postnuptial settlement. It can be either way, before marriage or after marriage. Now, sub 3 is also important. Say the power of the court to make orders of the kind referred to in this section shall not be exercised for the benefit of a child who has attained the age of 21, unless the court is of the opinion that there are special circumstances that justifies the making of such an order for the benefit of that child. Yeah. This is another cake on its own. So section 72 talks about settlement or partitioning of marital property. Now, what we read, what the court is saying is that where there are issues of husband and wife who have been divorced, who are separated, are trying to look at the properties they have, who gets what, court said it will consider what is just. It will consider what is equitable. It will consider the benefit of all. It will consider the interests of children in the marriage. Yes, these are what the court is looking at. It's going to consider all these things so that to arrive at this just and equitable formula that works for both parties so that nobody will be deprived, nobody will be cheated on, nobody will have a higher hand than the other. So that's what that provisions, all the things I read is talking about. Now, it's also very important to know that this principle of equity is equality works perfectly in this scenario. Equity is what? Equality. Equity, favors true equality. You know, the court looks at burdens and benefits in equal shares. Burdens and benefits in equal shares. Yeah, two people don't want to, want to be together again. Okay, we're going to share both the benefit, we're going to share both the burden equally. Very well. Now, what is the essence of this partitioning? What is or let's say, what is it that the court will look at, in dividing these properties for these people? Now, beyond that, it must be just, the court looks at it just an equitable formula, the benefit of all the parties, the benefit of the children, the court will look at, was this property acquired by one person? Was it acquired by both of them? Was it acquired before marriage? Was it acquired during the marriage? Was it acquired after they were separated or after the marriage? These are what the court will consider. Now, if the property was acquired before marriage, a lady has, very rich lady, she was working, she has money, or her parents gifted her some properties, and it's not in her custody, in her name, and she got married to a man and the man doesn't have anything. And because they are husband and wife, they're now together. They have started working on the property. Maybe they were empty land. The man brought money, or they worked at it together and started building the place. Now, and in the long run, they said, we are no longer going to do this together. We're no longer, compatible. Let's go our separate ways. Now, the lady is saying, I got this land. I have this land. I brought it into the marriage. You contributed in building, or we both contributed in building. These are the facts she will present to the court. So these are the things the court will look at. She bought the property. The court will look at the value of the land. The court will look at who contributed what. The court will look at, because if for a woman who, or for a man, either of them, who is claiming, yeah, I'm entitled to this. Beyond this, if you bring before the court viable evidence, very concrete evidence to show how much you contributed. Say, my lord, I bought the land at so, how much for how much at so year. I bought the first truck of cement at so time. I did this, I did a substantial part of the building. These are things the court will also look at in reaching a just and equitable decision. The man is saying, yes, she bought the land, but I did the foundation, I did the roofing, I did the interior decoration, and this is how much I spent. The court will also look at it and say, okay, you bought the land, you spent this, you did the foundation, you did the roofing. Okay, now how do I divide this property? Should I order for it to be sold so that you both will share the money equally, or 60-40? If there are other properties, should I give this person this one? Why this other person takes this one? So the circumstances of a particular case differs. How this is, the court looks at the periphery, the court looks at the surrounding circumstances, the court looks at the dynamics, because what happens to A may not be what happens to B. That is why in different cases there are various circumstances that led the court to different, arriving at different decisions. But the parameter for arriving at that decision didn't change, which is equality or equity is equality. So the court would juxtapose this fact, would bring it together and say, okay, you did this, you contributed this, you contributed that. Okay, how do I now arrive at a just determination? So remember I told you that the court will look at whether the property was acquired during the marriage, before the marriage, during the marriage, or after the marriage, and what the contribution of each party to the cost of acquisition. Sometimes, if there are children in the marriage and parties are saying we're no longer interested in doing this together, and the court say, okay, because the children are very young, let the woman have the children, let the woman have sole custody, let the man have access of visitation rights to the children. Now, if this woman is going with the 3 children or 4 children, what will she use to take care of the children? So in that segment, the court might look at, okay, what is just and equitable is that you people have 3 properties. Okay, Mr. Man only be 2 developed and one on the developed property. Court might say, okay, you man take the one of the developed, you woman take one of the developed, and you will use the undeveloped for the children, depending on the wisdom of the court. I will always I said that the court looks at the circumstances, because if the woman is going with the children, for example, I'm using this as an example, and she has to pay school fees, health, bills. She has to live in a house so those children to be comfortable, because the court will also look at the interest of the children. The interest of the children, but you see that in sub 3, because it's saying if the child is above 21, the child has can decide, well, I don't care, I'm going on my own or whatever. But for the child less than 21, the court will consider their interest in the partitioning. No, so the woman is if the woman is the one going with the children, or the man going with the children has to be in a comfortable place. So the court might say, okay, one of the properties that is developed, you go live there. This man go stay here. Then the one that is underdeveloped, you both can sell it, share the money, or the court will say, okay, if you have tenants there, use it and train the children. Since the man says he's not going to, or the man is not going to contribute to the welfare of the children. So these are just different analogies. These are different analogies. And now, for sometimes, someone will say, maybe in a court of law, because the court looks at facts and evidence. Sometimes, if you say, yes, I contributed to the house, I contributed to the, I cannot list, you know, cannot list what you really contributed. Sometimes you may not really get as much as you want. Now, see, the contribution might be moral support. The man is working, the woman is not working. The man is saying, my Lord, she didn't work. She doesn't work. She's a full-time housewife. I did everything. She was just at home eating my money and all of that. Moral support. My husband, you're welcome. How was it today? Peace of mind is all part of the moral support. It's part of the contribution the court. Don't mind me. I'm not making it look lighter, but that is true. Moral support is part of this contribution that the court will also look at. Yes, okay, the wife wasn't working, she wasn't at home taking care of the children while you were out there getting the money. So the court looks at moral support. It's part of the contribution. The court looks at, okay, for example, maybe husband and wife are doing one business. They are okay. The wife works with the husband in this. For eventually, he has a shop, for example, or has a factory or a business place, and the man and the wife are working together. Now they are using the profit from the business to build a house, to buy land, to have things, to buy shares and all of that. The court will look at now. It says the man might say it was my business, but the wife or the woman was contributing to the growth of that business because it was the profit from the business that you used to build. So these are the considerations the court will also look at. Yes, the man owns the business or is the man's business, started the business, but the woman was going to the shop, was selling, was helping, and it was the profit you got from the sales that you built. So these are the things the court will consider in making that equal share. That sharing that is what has the face of equality. So I talked about moral support as a contribution, financial support as a contribution, profit from joint business is also part of it. So in deciding how to share, just like I earlier mentioned, the court will look at all these factors and now see what is best. Who is the one that will take care of the children? From where will how will the children fend? If, for example, there are 5 buildings, there are 3 cars, the court can say, okay, give the woman one of the cars so she can be using to do the school run. There are little children, maybe she takes 2 of the little ones. These other ones are grown up, they can stay with the man. Okay. There are 3 properties. Let the man take one, let the woman take one, let's leave one for the children. Because you could see that in section 72, the benefit of the children is also part of what the court is going to consider is going to arrive at a just and equitable, distribution. So when he says that the woman wasn't doing anything, she was just at home. I did all the the law has passed that level. So the court will look at what is just. The court will look at what is just. Now, there are some instances where the property was maybe the man had the property before he married the woman, and he can prove to the court like I had this before I got married to her, and I have been the one. I built it solely with my money. The court was so these are also things the court will look at in doing the partitioning. The court might not, depending on the circumstances of the case, put in that property because it was solely, you know, the man had it before the marriage. So these are considerations. So what happens? The circumstances of A differs from circumstances of B, but the court will look at it. What is just? This woman had this property before she got married to this man, and now there's a problem. The man wants to take the property. No, he didn't contribute, or she inherited the property from her father, or she inherited it from her mother. It was a gift, and there's a proof before the court that it was a gift, deed of gift. I had this property at this time and I got married to him at this time. So there was no way I could have gotten the property while living with him. I got the property before I moved into his house. So the court will look at it like, no, sharing this one equally. No, 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 no. I can give this person, take back your property, you take back your property. Then the one you acquire together, I can know how to do it. So settlement of property, lies under the principle of equality is equity or equity is equality. So the court looks at what is just, considering the interests of the children. Would they go to school? How are they going to fend? Would they be trained in school? What is it that these 2 people have that can be used to train these children? So if the man is the one that is going to be fending for these children, then he has something. Sometimes maybe the man, that property is where he gets rent from his tenants. That's the only thing he has left. So the court might look at, okay, let's leave that for him so that he can still be bringing it out to train the children. Why woman, you can take the land that has no building on it. It depends on the circumstances, but not like the woman will be left with nothing or the man will be left with nothing. No, it has to be equality in the sharing, considering, you know, when was the property bought, what is the level of contribution of each party, towards the project or the buying of the car, the buying of the shares, the investment here and there. But it must be just, it must be equitable for the benefit of all or any of the parties. So look at the case of Muller and Muller. It's a 2006 Nigerian Weekly Law Report, part 97767. We could have the case of Anadi against Wosu. It's a 1992 Supreme Court of Nigerian judgment at 59. We also have Ibauchi and Ibauchi, is a 2016 Law Pavilion Electronic Law Report for 1268 Court of Appeal. So these are cases you read and understand more. You have the Aderomi against Aderomi, the 2003 two Nigerian Weekly Law Report, Part 8031. So these are the cases you could read to have broader understanding of all I have discussed. I just hope you'll be able to learn something. Yes, we just try to simplify legal concepts, legal ideas in the most simplest form for you to understand it. Just let it do like a storytelling so it can return, and you can also even share it to someone else. Yes, we are here to contribute to the growth of the legal profession in Nigeria in our own little way. Thank you for subscribing. And for you who have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do hit the subscribe button. Share this video online here. Just know that you can always be the best. Keep doing what you're doing. Ensure you're adding value to yourself. Be diligent. And before you know it, you'll get there. The sky is your starting point. If only you believe. Yeah, do take care of yourself and know that you can always be the best. And the world is waiting for you. Do take care of yourself.